Today is shoulder day. He's gotten used to his routine. Happy, happy, happy. I'm going to tell what happened today. I came home from my walk and sat down to eat lunch. I had a sandwich and some macaroni salad type of noodles. And then I had some water and I thought I was going to drink a V8, which a V8 is juice with green tea in it. And then I did that because I wanted to go ahead and do my painting before I started my exercise. But then when I started exercising, I didn't feel so good, and I wondered if I maybe accidentally drank two instead of one, but I couldn't remember because I took the trash out and had gone out and looked at the garden and everything out there in between. So I don't know. Maybe that there is a reason why that happened, because then I looked at Lewis's page, which mentioned scrolling, and I thought about how my writing kind of is creating a scroll. And then the idea of the scroll turning bitter is kind of like what I experience sometimes, but most of the time I think of it as things in your mind have gone south, which is kind of what happened to me after I started thinking about that taco burger jet ski idea. And it kind of like I noticed myself laughing to brush it off because it's something that embarrasses me, and I also feel insulted by it because I remember myself as a child who did think in terms of things where it is what it is about jet skis and food that you put in your mouth, such as tacos, and I did not connect those things to the lower half of my body. And when your thoughts do that to you, and it's like, that is insulting, that somebody would create that idea. I don't like the way that feels. That's like exactly what I think it's talking about when it talks about something seems sweet at first and then it turns bitter after you've absorbed it, and then you there's the feeling of being insulted. Like, that's lewd. Lewd is the word, Lewd, I'm pretty sure. So that is not really a mood issue. That is a disgust problem, because you think that something is innocent and doesn't connect with you in another kind of way, and then when that hits you, I feel like sometimes I've gotten better about it, but I don't like it. That's a huge thing that needs to be worked through for trust building, because I don't think that anything which involves sex should be perverse or used in such a way there should not be anything that involves sexual contact which does not include love. And I don't want to sit here and try to describe what love is, but love is actually caring for a person. So that's my opinion about that. I don't like it when it happens, and that's another thing about wondering about if things are negative or positive. And that just means that I might not be sure what the spoken word is in relation to the physical action when it comes to things going back and forth on the internet. Now I can explain things here, but I also have to work through, um, we've talked about sexual mistakes and sexual disappointments, and feeling all kinds of ways about how you thought something was innocent, and it turned out not to be, and it was a heartbreaking sort of thing for you to try and pick yourself back up from. And still being, I'm 45 years old, and I'm still very protective of myself from being hurt in that kind of way. But I'm trying, and I'm trying to let myself be seen for how I'm getting through it. And it's exactly true to who I am. So, I saw the part about resting, and I'm not going to be... I get plenty of sleep each night, very consistently, and I don't think it's a good recommendation for me to tell me to rest, because I am going through some kind of emotional reaction. I think the best thing to do is to let my emotions be seen, to let my words be heard, and to go ahead and continue with the things that I think that I should do, whether that be working around my house, or talking, or writing on my YouTube channel, or making a video, or whatever it is. I have to do things which open me up instead of close me off. And hiding from people that I don't even know anything about is not good enough for me. It's not good enough for me. So, the voice in my head said to discuss pipe dreams. And that's another one which I don't really understand. When someone says that what you're talking about is only a pipe dream, what does that even mean? Are you being negative, or are you are you saying that somebody is in some kind of a what? I don't know what they're talking about, because you have your vocal pipes, of course. You have your which is a windpipe. And then you have your pipes that flow through you. So I don't know what those things are about. It's like, and I don't know what it's possible to achieve with the future. I do not know. That's plenty of reason why I said, how can you predict a future by what you've experienced in the past if the past does not exist any longer? If you're continuously trying to correct what you didn't like about the past is never going to happen again. So, I don't know what a pipe dream is. I do not know what a pipe dream is, and I don't know how it would not be reality, because I do not think that you can just go around talking about all your plans and expect that your plans are going to happen just because you spoke them out loud. If that's what anybody is suggesting, I do think you have to put in physical and mental work into anything that you decide to do, or how else are you going to do any kind of plan that you've created? But you can't just try and go off and create plans without being able to verbalize them, or put them into a physical a physical build, or a drawing of how to build it, or a description. You need all of those things. That's what planning is. The other thing that I noticed today, okay, so today's May 13th, and tomorrow's that seventh birthday, and a voice in my head said, it's just another day. And I was like, it's quite important to me because it represents 7 years of work that I have put into what it's like to build yourself up after sobriety. That it's very important to me. It's very important to me, and the idea of being let off from the crucifixion thing, that idea, also seems important. So it's not only another day to me. It is 7 years of hard-earned work, and I'm going to speak my mind about that. What was the other thing? Oh, when I was on my walk today, there was a vehicle waiting for me at the beginning of my walk that said City of Abilene Planning and Development. And then after I saw the lizard, the vehicle drove off. And then when I was walking, I saw this truck that had all of these big white bags on the back. I didn't get close enough to be able to count the number of bags on it, but it sat there and waited at the end of the road until I got pretty close up there, and then it turned into the airport gate, and then the gate was closed and the vehicle was gone by the time I walked up there. And then I saw a Ram truck, Dodge Ram truck, that had the words Abilene Regional Airport Planning on the side of their truck drive past me twice. And so if I see something like that, I don't know if I need to interpret it as to what I'm trying to do. I don't really know, because like I said, it's hard to interpret things that you're not I'm like, am I somehow involved with the city of Abilene, or is it just telling me about, or is that just trying to inform me about what I'm doing myself with trying to get organized and plan with the intellect, and then the building of structures and organization in my own house, or the ideas of how to build a family, or any of that stuff. I don't know exactly always how to imagine what is going on in the mind of that person who does not speak to me, and I'm only seeing some writing. It's very hard for me. I have never been able to be in circumstances where I think of people as a reflection of what I'm doing myself, or a sort of an aid to help me understand myself. I have never looked at people that way. I always look at people as something separate from myself, that have their own thinking minds and their own plans and wants and wishes, and I never connect it to myself. I always think that it's them and then it's me. I'm never thinking about it as they're trying to show me something about myself. I don't like to think of the world that way. I'd rather think of the world as that everybody has wants and desires, because that's what makes sense to me. Is what I do not like the idea of some kind of like a what would you call it? A mother and a fetus sort of thing when you're around when you're trying to look at another person, or that you're looking at something go by that is coming out of your own mind and about the relevance. These things are, I don't know what to do about it. I don't, because if you think of a body and you think about all the components in which it needs to work together, and every single part is important, and then you try and expand upon that in the real world. Fly got in here. And the body, you would know what the function of is for with each of the body parts. You wouldn't be wondering about, you know, let's just do something silly here. If you were a body part, let's say that you were a liver, and you're in your body doing your job, functioning as a liver, and then you see another liver trying to show you how to be a liver. That's confusing. If people do things like that, then I do not understand what I'm looking at. Okay? I do not. And so, what else do I need to talk about here? Okay, I did want to bring up this other thing that I was thinking about your mood dipping a little bit. Okay? When you're in a state of, is this love? Is this what I really think it is? Kind of place. Am I really cared about? And I thought about how I thought about how I might want to hide instead of making this shoulder video today. And then I thought about myself in middle school and being taken to the doctor and told that I needed to be on medication to keep my mood elevated. And that is when, thinking about that memory, is when I started questioning. This connects to what I said about the animals being in better health and better condition if you're taking good care of yourself, as to what I wondered about motherhood. So I didn't understand why that happened, because I don't understand why you would ever try and medicate somebody because you didn't like their mood. But so when I tried to go back and examine my life, I've been trying to, I went through and examined almost all of my memories there for a while, and I wondered about that kind of connection of who was learning from who as far as trying to get self insight. Because if I think about the fact that my parents drank alcohol, and then maybe that my grandparents or somebody was trying to use me as a channel to teach my parents that they needed to pay attention to what they're doing by making it into another type of situation, so maybe they would have stopped drinking. That's where my mind went. Like, who was supposed to be teaching who when I was a child? Because I don't believe that there was any such thing as a mood problem, and I don't believe in psychological medication. But that happened when I was young, and it's just a big thing on my mind about, like, all these, like, wondering about the guidance in the spiritual element, and how this idea of saving souls and trying to get a person to wake up about their own behavior. Because it's like I've been separated for so long that I think I've been able to sort myself out, but I am very skeptical. I'm very skeptical about um, reuniting with people because I'm able to understand my motives and what I decide to do when I don't feel that kind of enmeshment with trying to decipher about the whatever's trying to be taught, because you can't rely upon your fear when it comes to trying to figure out what the truth is, because that's just not accurate, because a lot of times you don't know, and you can't rely on your at least I don't think you can't rely on your optimism that about the future either. I mean, I don't think either one of those is a for sure thing. That's not what certainty is. Certainty is the history that you have, that you know that you're going to get up and get after it the next day and the next day and the next day, no matter what happens. I think that's more what certainty is when it comes to your self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, I don't know how you can be certain of what another person is doing. I don't know how you can do that. That's a faith thing. That is a faith thing. Yeah. I don't. You know what? I think it's perfectly fine to say that you don't know. Just say you don't know. Talk about a little bit about things, and then ask. And see what kind of answers come from within yourself, because there's reasons. Sometimes I do not think that your thoughts are only just floating around in there and then something just comes to you out of the blue, because you have so many thoughts that you've experienced throughout your life, what you've contemplated, what you've asked for, all of these things, and then suddenly that you think of something. And I don't think that those thoughts should be dismissed. I think that you should examine those as to why that has come up to the surface, and think about what you're doing and what you're going through currently, and try and connect it, and think about what you talked about within the last day or so. Think about what has shifted your mood in any kind of way, and then discuss it. And just I guess you think about like putting it on the table and sharing that, because that's how good changes happen, is you share what's on your mind and let it out. Because how do you get clarification if you're keeping everything to yourself? You have to let it out. And I know that you can get answers from within yourself, but maybe you can get more answers if you let it out. Okay. That's the discussion for today. I'm going to do some shoulder exercises. Oh yeah, did I say that at one point I said the word soul, if you take out the H out of shoulder, you have soul in there. So I'm going to call it Soulful Shoulder Day. It's not the same thing, but I think it's a good title. There's like that song from The Killers was I'm not a what is it? It's about a soul and a soldier. I lost it. I know that song though. Also about this idea, because I saw Killian, I thought his name was Cillian Murphy. Okay, I saw him pop up several times. Quit, guys! It's noisy. I saw his picture and some things that he was saying pop up several times. I did like the fact that his comment about the Charlie Kirk thing, which I have no way of knowing if that is a true story or not, but he said that every thought or emotion that is experienced about something, it doesn't have to be put on stage. And I thought that was a perfectly acceptable thing to say. And sometimes you don't want to you don't want to be, sometimes you just don't want to talk about things. But that's, it depends on what you mean by staged. It's like he didn't want to turn it into a performance type of thing because maybe he didn't understand it. I don't know. But I had this theory. Yo, stop it. That Cillian quit. Cillian Murphy, son Aaron Murphy, and Matthew McConaughey's daughter Vida would be getting married. That's what I thought, because all this, hey, because all of this stuff about, okay, so what was it that I saw? There was something that, anyway, I'm not going to discuss all that. I saw some things that I connected together, and I thought that was the truth. I don't know. And Killian, is that how you say it? His, isn't that what the name of Captain Hook's name was in the Once Upon a Time stories? So that's like a sort of, I thought about a fishing hook, but I don't know about my theories about the big family and everything. Sometimes I'm like, yes, it's going to happen. Sometimes I'm like, maybe not, it's not going to happen. Maybe that's too big of a dream. But, I don't know. Like, it's okay if things change up. It's okay if it happens. It's okay if things change up. But I'm still going to keep talking about it. Who knows if I'm accurate? There's a lot of things that I'm surprised that I am accurate about because of this psychic stuff. And you second guess yourself so much about this psychic thing, thinking that it's yourself when it's psychic abilities. And when you find out that you knew about something that you were never told, and then you're trying to hide that and put on this front about who you think you should be or what you think you should say, I don't think that that's a good way to be, because that stuff may not necessarily be coming from yourself. And if you're hiding it, trying to put on a front about your insecurity about saying things because you don't want to seem like you're crazy, that is not accepted. And I've said that more times than, and here's another good, I've been talking for quite a while. Here's another good thing that I was thinking about with my interactions with people. I have been received much better by people when I say things that I'm afraid of how they might respond to me, when it's something that I either came up with myself or I'm saying something that I've had some kind of reception about it. I'm not feeling that sense of rejection when I do that. When I felt a sense of rejection, it's me trying to be a certain way because I am assuming that this other person that I'm speaking with wants me to be something I'm not, and I'm concealing things because I'm worried about this being crazy kind of thing. And this stuff that I brought up about the psychosis and letting myself be seen in different states, and all my writing be seen, and everything else, and going through these exercises with Ren, and have and knowing that it is public and people know about it, and coming out anyways after I've been through what I had, and trusting that it's for its purpose and I'm not going to get locked up or anything by what I say, is hugely a strength building thing for me. And I'm working on saying what I need to say every day, whether that be in writing form or doing videos or talking to myself at home or whatever it is. I think that everything is good now. It is good now. Because I can't live in that place where I'm trying to, I said the other day, I do not want to feel like Anne Frank trying to hide from the Nazis. I'm just going to have to say what I truly think is going on, and also state that I don't really know what certainty is. I do not. I know I do not like the feeling of things going upside down on you, and being worried that there might be evil and things that you're hoping are good, that are good-hearted, good-natured, good relationships, whatever they are. That's something that I have to work through. Okay, on to the shoulder exercises. Okay. Let's see. Okay, now I don't know what it's called, but I call this one Frankenstein. That's not what it's called on the chart. And then I'm making up names today. And I'm gonna call this one Bat Wings. And then you can go like this, one at a time. So my inner voice is reminding me that what I talked about is similar to the story about Jonah getting thrown off the boat whenever when it talked about what God and him were having going on inside of his mind. Okay, yeah, I understand that. I understand that. Okay, is it still going? Yep. Okay, we're going on the other side now. Okay. And then we'll go with, not that one. shoulder presses. And then let me see if there's any more that I can find on my chart here. Okay, Arnold press is what the next one is called. Let's see, it's similar to a shoulder press. Let's do it sitting on the bench. Arnold press. Now you see this shirt that I wore today. It's called popcorn chicken. They're little chickens that look like popcorn. I was thinking my peeps earlier, but now that I'm looking at it, it's popcorn chicken. Very old shirt. Anyway, there's today's topic: Soulful Shoulder Wednesday. And that is all. I think I've cycled through every muscle group, and I'm not going to keep doing these exercises. I was just going to go through one thing of it, so I might have to come up with some other ideas. Thanks for the encouragement.